In this video, we delve into the tragic tale of Sporus and Emperor Nero, a story that intertwines love, power, and the harrowing consequences of ambition in ancient Rome. Sporus, a young boy, was transformed into a woman by Nero, who sought to replace his deceased wife, Poppaea Sabina, with Sporus, subjecting him to profound psychological abuse. This transformation was not merely physical. It represented a deeper manipulation of identity and autonomy, showcasing the darker side of imperial power. As we explore this narrative, we aim to engage you with the complexities of their relationship, revealing how Sporus became a pawn in Nero's quest for control and validation. The tone of our discussion will be both informative and captivating, shedding light on the often overlooked aspects of Roman history that highlight the human cost of power. Through Sporus' story, we uncover hidden truths about the lengths to which individuals will go for love and acceptance, as well as the devastating impact of tyranny on the human spirit. Join us as we navigate the intricate dynamics of this historical episode, inviting you to reflect on the broader implications of Sporus' experience and the societal norms of ancient Rome. This is not just a tale of one individual. It is a poignant reminder of the fragility of identity and the often tragic consequences of unchecked authority. Prepare to be drawn into a narrative that challenges our understanding of history and the human condition. During Nero's reign, ancient Rome was a city of stark contrasts, where the grandeur of imperial power clashed with the underlying tensions of its populace. The streets of Rome were alive with the hustle and bustle of citizens, merchants, and soldiers, all navigating the vibrant marketplaces and public squares. The Forum, the heart of Roman public life, served as a stage for political discourse, social gatherings, and the display of imperial authority. Here, Nero presented himself as a benevolent ruler, engaging with the people and showcasing his artistic talents, which endeared him to some. However, this public persona starkly contrasted with his private actions, marked by extravagance, cruelty, and a growing paranoia that led to the persecution of perceived enemies. As whispers of dissent grew louder, the atmosphere became increasingly charged, with citizens torn between admiration and fear of their emperor. The power dynamics within the Roman Empire were complex. While Nero sought to project an image of control and charisma, the reality was one of instability and unrest. The Forum, once a symbol of civic pride, became a backdrop for the discontent brewing among the populace, reflecting the widening gap between the emperor's lavish lifestyle and the struggles of ordinary Romans. This duality of perception, Nero as both a celebrated artist and a tyrant, highlights the intricate interplay of power, fear, and public opinion in ancient Rome, setting the stage for the dramatic events that would unfold during his tumultuous reign. Nero's early reign was marked by a wave of popularity, as he initially endeared himself to the Roman people through a series of progressive reforms and public works. He focused on improving the lives of citizens by reducing taxes, promoting artistic endeavors, and enhancing the infrastructure of Rome. His youthful charisma and commitment to the welfare of the populace created an image of a compassionate ruler, one who seemed to genuinely care for the needs of his subjects. However, as time passed, the intoxicating effects of absolute power began to take their toll on Nero's behavior. The psychological impact of wielding such unchecked authority led him down a path of excess and moral decay, as he became increasingly detached from the realities of his empire. This transformation was further exacerbated by the influence of key figures in his life, particularly Poppaea Sabina. As Nero's mistress and later wife, Poppaea played a pivotal role in shaping his ambitions and desires. Her ruthless ambition and desire for power fueled Nero's darker impulses, encouraging him to embrace a more tyrannical approach to governance. The combination of Nero's initial goodwill, the corrupting nature of absolute power, and Poppeia's influence created a perfect storm that ultimately led to his moral decline. This shift not only altered Nero's character, but also had profound implications for the stability of the Roman Empire, setting the stage for the tumultuous events that would follow in his reign. The relationship between Nero and Poppaea Sabina was intense and destructive, marked by a blend of passion, ambition, and manipulation. Poppaea was undeniably appealing to Nero. Her beauty, intelligence, and cunning nature captivated him from the outset. She was not only a striking figure, but also possessed a sharp wit and a keen understanding of the political landscape, making her an alluring partner for the young emperor. Initially, Nero admired her, drawn to her confidence and the way she navigated the complexities of Roman society. However, this admiration soon morphed into an all-consuming obsession. As their relationship deepened, Nero became increasingly fixated on Poppaea, allowing her desires and ambitions to dictate his actions. This shift marked a turning point in his behavior, as he began to prioritize her wishes over the welfare of the empire, leading to increasingly erratic decisions driven by jealousy and insecurity. The implications of their tumultuous relationship on Nero's mental state were profound. As he became more obsessed with Poppaea, his grip on reality weakened, leading to paranoia and a growing sense of isolation. The pressures of maintaining his power, coupled with his emotional dependency on Poppaea, exacerbated his instability. This toxic dynamic not only fueled Nero's descent into tyranny, but also contributed to a broader atmosphere of fear and unrest within the empire. Ultimately, the destructive nature of their relationship served as a catalyst for Nero's moral decline, illustrating how love and ambition can intertwine to create chaos in the corridors of power. The tragic events leading to Poppaea Sabina's fatal injury unfolded during a domestic argument that spiraled out of control. Tensions had been mounting between Nero and Poppaea, fueled by jealousy and the pressures of their tumultuous relationship. One fateful evening, a heated dispute erupted, with Nero's temper flaring as he confronted her over perceived slights and infidelities. In a moment of rage, he struck her, resulting in a devastating injury that would ultimately claim her life. The violence of that moment shocked even Nero, who had been consumed by his emotions, and the reality of what he had done began to sink in. In the aftermath of Poppaea's death, Nero's reaction was complex and deeply conflicted. Initially, he was overcome with grief, mourning her loss in a manner that seemed genuine. He ordered elaborate funeral rites and even declared her a goddess, attempting to immortalize her in the eyes of the Roman people. However, beneath this facade of sorrow lay a profound sense of guilt and despair. The impact of her death on Nero's psyche was catastrophic. He became increasingly unstable, plagued by remorse and paranoia. This loss exacerbated his already fragile mental state, leading him to engage in erratic behavior and further alienate those around him. The absence of Poppaea left a void in Nero's life, driving him deeper into a spiral of obsession and tyranny. As he struggled to cope with the consequences of his actions and the haunting memory of the woman who had once held such power over him. Before becoming a pawn in Nero's obsession, Sporus was a young freedman in the imperial household, navigating the complexities of life in ancient Rome. Born into a world of servitude, he was granted freedom, but remained closely tied to the whims of the elite. His position allowed him a glimpse into the opulence of the imperial court. Yet, it also placed him at the mercy of its darker undercurrents. Sporus's life took a fateful turn when he caught the eye of Emperor Nero, who was captivated by the boy's striking resemblance to his late wife, Poppaea Sabina. This physical similarity became a pivotal factor in Nero's fixation, as he sought to fill the void left by Poppeia's tragic death. The significance of Sporus's resemblance to Poppaea extended beyond mere appearance. It represented Nero's desperate attempt to reclaim a lost love and restore a sense of normalcy in his chaotic life. As Nero's obsession deepened, Sporus found himself thrust into a role he never sought, becoming a living embodiment of the emperor's grief and longing. This tragic transformation marked the beginning of Sporus's harrowing journey, as he was coerced into adopting a female identity to fulfill Nero's desires. The implications of this metamorphosis were profound, stripping Sporus of his autonomy and subjecting him to the whims of a ruler whose emotional instability dictated the course of his life. Thus, Sporus's story serves as a poignant reminder of the human cost of power and obsession in the heart of ancient Rome. The horrific process that Sporus underwent to become Nero's wife was a harrowing ordeal that forever altered his identity. Under the emperor's command, Sporus was subjected to a series of surgical procedures that included castration, a brutal act that stripped him of his male identity and forced him into a new existence as a woman. This transformation was not merely physical. It carried profound implications for Sporus's sense of self. The trauma of such a violent alteration left deep psychological scars, as he grappled with the loss of his autonomy and the imposition of a new identity that was entirely dictated by Nero's obsession. The psychological impact of this forced femininity was immense. Sporus was thrust into a role that he had not chosen, leading to feelings of confusion, despair, and alienation. The pressure to conform to Nero's desires weighed heavily on him, as he was expected to embody the idealized image of a wife that Nero had constructed in his mind. This expectation was compounded by the societal norms of ancient Rome, which dictated strict roles for men and women. Post-transformation, Sporus faced immense scrutiny and judgment from those around him, as he was now seen as a reflection of Nero's whims rather than an individual with his own identity. The societal expectations placed on Sporus were suffocating, forcing him to navigate a world where he was both a symbol of the emperor's love and a victim of his tyranny. This tragic narrative underscores the devastating consequences of power and obsession, revealing the human cost of Nero's desires. Nero's wedding to Sporus was a lavish spectacle that epitomized the opulence of imperial Rome, yet it was steeped in a profound sense of horror. The ceremony was adorned with extravagant decorations, featuring rich fabrics, golden ornaments, and an abundance of flowers that filled the air with their fragrance. Traditional elements of Roman weddings were meticulously observed, including the exchange of vows and the symbolic joining of hands. Yet the entire event was overshadowed by the grotesque nature of the union. Nero, dressed in bridal attire, paraded Sporus before the assembled guests, who were forced to witness this bizarre transformation of a young man into a bride. The reactions of attendees were mixed, ranging from shock and disbelief to forced applause, as many were acutely aware of the underlying horror of the event. Whispers of discontent rippled through the crowd as the absurdity of the situation became increasingly apparent. Here was an emperor, once a celebrated figure, now reduced to a caricature of love and power, marrying a former freedman who had been mutilated to fulfill his desires. This union was not merely a personal affair. It was a public spectacle that highlighted the depths of Nero's obsession and the lengths to which he would go to recreate his lost love. In the context of Roman society, the wedding was absurd, challenging the very foundations of gender and identity. It forced the elite to confront the disturbing reality of an emperor who had abandoned the norms of decorum and dignity, revealing the fragility of power and the grotesque nature of desire. This event served as a chilling reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition and the human cost of Nero's whims. Following the wedding, Sporus's life became a complex web of expectations and roles that he was forced to adopt as Nero's wife. His daily existence was dictated by the whims of the emperor, who demanded that Sporus embody the idealized image of femininity that he had constructed in his mind. This included dressing in elaborate gowns, participating in public ceremonies, and engaging in the social rituals expected of a Roman matron. Sporus was thrust into a world where he had to navigate the intricacies of court life, all while grappling with the profound dissonance between his true identity and the facade he was compelled to maintain. The psychological toll of living as a substitute for Poppaea was immense. Sporus was constantly reminded of the woman he was meant to replace, leading to feelings of inadequacy and despair. The pressure to fulfill Nero's expectations weighed heavily on him as he struggled to reconcile his own sense of self with the identity imposed upon him. This internal conflict created a profound sense of alienation, as Sporus found himself trapped in a role that denied his autonomy and humanity. Maintaining this facade presented numerous challenges. Sporus had to navigate the scrutiny of the Roman elite, who were both fascinated and horrified by his transformation. The constant fear of exposure and ridicule loomed large, forcing him to adopt behaviors and mannerisms that felt foreign and unnatural. Each day became a performance, where the stakes were high and the cost of failure was unimaginable. In this tragic existence, Sporus's life became a poignant reflection of the devastating impact of power and obsession, revealing the profound human cost of Nero's desires. The events leading to Nero's downfall were marked by escalating political unrest and rebellion against his increasingly tyrannical rule. As dissatisfaction grew among the Roman populace and the elite, various factions began to rise up against the emperor, fueled by his erratic behavior and the heavy burdens of taxation and persecution. The Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD further exacerbated tensions, as many blamed Nero for the devastation, believing he sought to clear land for his grand architectural projects. This unrest culminated in a series of revolts, most notably the uprising led by Gaius Julius Vindex in Gaul, which signaled a significant challenge to Nero's authority. Amidst this chaos, Sporus found himself in an incredibly vulnerable position. As Nero's wife, he was not only a symbol of the emperor's obsession, but also a target for those who sought to dismantle his regime. When news of Nero's impending downfall reached the court, the atmosphere became charged with fear and uncertainty. Ultimately, Nero's suicide in 68 AD marked a dramatic turning point, leaving Sporus's future hanging in the balance. With the emperor's death, the protective veil that had shielded him began to unravel, exposing him to the wrath of those who had resented Nero's choices. In the aftermath of Nero's demise, Sporus faced a precarious existence. Stripped of his status and the emperor's protection, he became a figure of scorn and ridicule, navigating a world that had once celebrated him as a reflection of Nero's desires. The uncertainty of his identity and the threat of retribution loomed large, leaving Sporus to grapple with the haunting legacy of his transformation and the fragility of his place in a rapidly changing Rome. Following Nero's death, Sporus's life took a tragic turn as he became a pawn in the power struggles of Rome's new rulers. Without the emperor's protection, he was passed between powerful men, treated as a trophy rather than a person. The once celebrated figure of Nero's obsession was now a symbol of the emperor's excesses, and various leaders sought to exploit Sporus's unique status for their own gain. This commodification of his identity stripped him of any semblance of agency, reducing him to a mere object of desire and curiosity in the eyes of those who wielded power. The ultimate humiliation Sporus faced came when he was forced to appear in the Colosseum, a venue synonymous with brutality and spectacle. Here, he was paraded before a jeering crowd, subjected to the whims of the audience, who viewed him as a grotesque reminder of Nero's reign. This public display was not only a physical humiliation, but also a profound psychological blow, as Sporus was forced to confront the reality of his existence as a living embodiment of someone else's desires. The cheers and jeers of the crowd echoed the loss of his identity, as he was no longer seen as Sporus, but rather as a reflection of the emperor's madness. Throughout his life, Sporus experienced a continuous erosion of agency and identity. From his forced transformation into Nero's wife, to his subsequent treatment by those in power, he became a tragic figure caught in the crosshairs of ambition and obsession. The loss of his autonomy left him adrift in a world that had once celebrated him, highlighting the devastating consequences of power and the human cost of desire in ancient Rome. The circumstances leading to Sporus's tragic decision to end his life were rooted in years of relentless abuse and humiliation that had taken a profound psychological toll. After being thrust into a life of servitude and objectification following Nero's death, Sporus endured a series of dehumanizing experiences that stripped him of his identity and autonomy. The years spent as a pawn in the hands of powerful men, coupled with the public ridicule he faced in the Colosseum, left him feeling utterly powerless and trapped in a life that was not his own. The weight of this emotional burden became unbearable, leading to a deep sense of despair and hopelessness. In the face of such overwhelming circumstances, Sporus's final act of defiance emerged as a poignant statement against the life he had been forced to endure. By choosing to end his life, he reclaimed a sense of agency that had long been denied to him. This decision, while tragic, represented a powerful rejection of the identity imposed upon him by others. It was a moment of autonomy in a life characterized by manipulation and control, allowing Sporus to assert his will in the only way he felt was left to him. The significance of Sporus's choice resonates deeply, as it highlights the desperate lengths to which individuals may go to reclaim their agency in the face of insurmountable oppression. His tragic end serves as a haunting reminder of the human cost of power and obsession, illuminating the profound impact of trauma and the struggle for identity in a world that often seeks to erase it. In his final moments, Sporus found a semblance of freedom, leaving behind a legacy that speaks to the resilience of the human spirit amidst unimaginable suffering. Sporus's story is a poignant exploration of the themes of power, identity, and human resilience, set against the backdrop of ancient Rome's imperial excess. From his initial life as a freedman to his tragic transformation into Nero's wife, Sporus's journey highlights the devastating impact of unchecked ambition and obsession. His experiences serve as a stark reminder of how power can distort identities, reducing individuals to mere objects of desire and control. The psychological toll of years of abuse and humiliation ultimately culminated in his tragic decision to reclaim agency through death, underscoring the profound human cost of living under tyranny. As we reflect on Sporus's life, we are invited to consider the broader implications of his story. It challenges us to confront the realities of power dynamics and the often overlooked consequences of imperial excess. The narrative of Sporus serves as a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable suffering. It compels us to acknowledge the sacrifices made by those who have been marginalized and oppressed throughout history. If you found Sporus's story compelling and wish to delve deeper into the complexities of historical narratives, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Like and share this video to spread awareness of these important themes and to join us in exploring more captivating stories from history. Together, we can uncover the hidden truths of our past and reflect on their relevance in our lives today.